you're here to be a ray of the sun, to shine your little light into this space to where you can bring true life, true
Mhm.
and all the divine virtues that fall under that.
Exactly. Yeah, that requires the development of the personality, which is something that we can touch later.
Absolutely.
I wrote an article in the blog about that. And when we develop, something really divine starts coming out from ourselves. Doesn't mean we are mm, God in itself, but we are an expression of the divine. We are part
Right.
of the mother. The master
Yes.
said we are the mother. The mother are those who make the will of the father.
Mm.
So he was including mm, that aspect that in the Hebrew teaching is known as Yud Vav Hey Elohim.
Right.
Elohim is plural. El is force. Elohim forces, some would say the powerful ones, but there can be architects that separated from that aspect of the mother and they
Mm.
became fallen Elohim, Elohim Tachtona, the Elohim from below.
Mm.
So it's necessary to distinguish between the Elohim, the fallen Elohim, and the true cosmic Elohim, which connects
Mm.
everything, is multiplicity.
Right.
When you feel connected to that oneness through understanding and feeling, something miraculous happens. What seems impossible suddenly becomes possible.
Yes.
We don't do anything as humans. We are just like a speck of dust in the universe, but something great manifests through us. We
Yeah.
are like the face of God, not God, but
Yeah.
the face of God when something greater starts to be developed. And as I mentioned, there is a very interesting subject concerning the development of the personality. You've heard of Kazimierz Dabrowski, the Polish psychiatrist, which is not very well known, unfortunately, in universities, even though he nailed what is happening to many people who have a tremendous potential and they feel depressed, they feel low, they fall into addictions, they suffer health problems, as it was my case. And in many cases, they can even diagnosed as autistic or suffering ADHD, attention and deficit and hyperactivity disorder, no? And that's a tragedy because those labels are conditioning people. In some cases, it's not just a lack of attention because you lack dopamine and you have a genetic tendency to be like that.
Yeah.
Is that you have such a powerful potential that
Mm.
you really get sick in a society which is already sick in itself. So there is no choice. Either you become what you have to become to develop the authentic personality, as Casimir Dabrowski said, or you experience madness. He called it positive disintegration because something in you starts to break down and you feel bad. It's like a process of giving birth, and it's in a certain way positive if you use that force. And that's where the interesting part begins because most people don't suffer because of a clash of values, because people agree with what happens. They just conform themselves with what society presents and say, well,
Mm.
there is no other choice. I have to work from 9 to 5 and feed my children and do whatever is needed to vote this party, this other party.
Yeah. That's that consumer mindset.
Mhm. Is the real tragedy of a human being that has been duped, deceived by evil forces. So when people say, no, we're all the same, yes and no. Some people are not the same because they cannot conform. I've never been able to adapt to this world.
Mm.
You can bring something greater and shine, and you adapt to that. But you don't conform yourself with the negative values that are imposing the powers that be. So
Absolutely.
that's where Dabrowski nailed it on. Some people have more potential and they came here to transform society.
Yes.
That's why it's possible to bring a future Earth in another timeline that is much better. No disease, no war, no religion,
Mm.
or at least conflictive religions, because
Right.
people don't realize how much hate someone manifests saying, no, my religion is the one. The others came first, those are just deceived. They don't realize that that's in contradiction with love. And Apostle
Absolutely.
Paul said it very clearly in the Master, in the Messiah, if you will, even though I don't like that word. The
Right.
mess is a mess.
Yeah.
The Messiah is
Right.
not a mess, but
The Mashiach.
in the Mashiach, there is neither Greek nor Jew nor slave nor
That's
rich
right.
nor woman nor man. Today, he would include Christianity today. There are no
Oh,
Christians.
absolutely.
There are
Yeah.
no Muslims.
Right.
It's
Without a
tradition,
doubt.
human
Without a
tradition.
doubt.
It's
No
not
New
real.
Agers.
Exactly.
No. There's no conflict of interest in the one. It just is one. It is, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
It's a powerful energy of loving and transformation.
absolutely.
And well, Dabrowski didn't speak about that because he was a psychiatrist, even though I
Right.
think he studied at least Uspensky, or he was in touch with someone that knew about the so-called stages of development in the fourth way that
Yes.
were taught by Mr. Gurdjieff when he came to the West, and he transmitted an amazing teaching, which he said it was not his, he was just a
Right.
vessel. And it's amazing how it fits what Dabrowski says with what Uspensky and Gurdjieff were teaching.
Right.
They belong to different niches, but I think Dabrowski could have been in contact with people
Yeah.
in the work, as
Yeah.
it is called.
Right. We all get it from somewhere. We all get a helping hand or a seed of knowledge or a seed of knowledge or
Mhm,
of understanding from somewhere, you know, and that's the collective work we're all here to do together, you know. Because like
yes.
as we all know, you can't do it by yourself, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You can't do yourself by yourself, you
We are like midgets in the shoulders of
know.
giants.
There it is. Yeah. That's it. You know. Can't put the horse before the cart, right? Or the cart before the horse, rather.
Mhm. That's the process of humility. You
Right.
have to learn from those who came before and understood
Yes. Right.
something.
And it's like building blocks, you know, it's like building a it's so to say to use a well known term, it's building a better tomorrow. But really, there is
Mhm,
no tomorrow. It's just right now. It's we're all leaning on the that understanding of the master builder,
mhm,
which is Yeshua. You know what I mean, Master Yeshua, and like you said, he came here to say, hey, you know, I'm gonna build this so total destruction don't come, and here's an opportunity for you to pick up not pick up where he left off, but do your part in the work that I have started or that I have for you,
mhm.
you know.
Today, there is still a lot of prejudice, even within certain Christian circles, when we mention Yeshua or Yeshua, because they say that's Judaism or that's Jew.
Yeah, right.
But it's not about the name. Yeshua means
No.
salvation by means
Wow.
of life or love.
Right.
I don't care about the
Yeah.
names. The
And he
names
don't mind what you call him either, as long as he, you know who.
exactly.
Long as me and you look each other in the eye and
Uh-huh.
agree on who we're talking about here.
Mhm.
Let's get an understanding of who we're
Exactly.
mentioning,
The
and then
facts.
then we could move ahead with the
Uh-huh.
conversation. Yeah, because I think too, it's like yeah, and then they say, where does it all end? Well, it
Mhm.
all ends with you not holding that grievance against somebody because of the where they're at with their understanding, because maybe they do understand from the Muslim point of view, maybe they do understand from the Christian point of view, maybe they do understand from the Hindu point of view, but
Mhm.
the thing is that we got to understand as okay, they will say, well, your people killed my people, and even the Christians killed the Jewish people, and and whatever you want to say, because you know some nations claim to be a Christian nation and then do horrific things under the banner of Christianity, which we know that's not true Christianity. You
Mhm.
already know because there's no love there, because there's no, if that's the only way you could say that it comes from there. But when you make that decision, okay, whatever you call yourself, whatever label you want to, nobody even likes a label, but they'll put a label on itself, and
Mhm.
you say, okay, now that's where forgiveness comes in. The forgiveness before the foundation of the earth. Now I have to forgive this whole group of people because we see things differently, and the animosity is so deep, and so to say real to that person, because your grandfather killed my grandfather in the name of a religion. Now we have to stop that. We have to stand in that gap and say enough's enough, and in ourselves,
Mhm.
and say that hatred starts here, because as Martin Luther King said, hate can't conquer hate, only love could do that. But we know love don't conquer, but just using the words that we have, only love can transform hate. More hate can't transform hate.
Mhm.
So that's that you got to stand in the space between the morning and the night, be the sun, and radiate that understanding to say it all got the end starts somewhere. You got to start being the answer, the true
Exactly.
answer. Yeah.
And being true love doesn't either mean to be sadistic, which is what some are proposing. How do you watch The Passion by mm, Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson? No, no, I
I
never.
don't, I didn't like the movie
Right.
because I think it's very simplistic, and in the end, it's just the same message. Let's
Yeah.
torture that guy, made him bleed to death, and yeah,
Right.
represent the resurrection, and we are saved by the death of someone. And in the end, it's the same
It's-
message. No, something, someone that dies, and that death brings salvation in those who really believe. But it's not really like that. You have to transform to be part of
yeah.
that
Yeah.
real master. Walk like he walked, as the apostle said. It's not belief. It's not a sacrifice in itself, a carnal sacrifice, because that's what the savages do. They
Right.
sacrifice people, sacrifice babies, animals, and that cannot be the true message of the master. So
Yeah.
it's
To
a
a
pity. No,
to a god too. To somebody who they consider a god, right?
exactly.
They would sacrifice those things. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And just like you
That's
were saying, oh, go ahead.
you know the word vicar. Vicar is someone that is in the position of another, no, representing another. The Pope is the vicar of
Mm,
Christ, the
yeah.
representation of Christ. So, what Pope in the history has been walking like Master? You should
Ooh.
know. And so that vicarism, which is typical of
Mm.
Christianity in general,
Right.
is the great deception, is what is keeping people from developing the true
Yes.
Christic consciousness, if you wish, even though that can be confusing for other people. Because how do you explain this to a Muslim? Sufis understand. Rumi said
Yes.
Isa was the manifestation of absolute love. He was love,
Yeah.
and he was valuable not for what he said or what he did, but for what he was. That's
Right.
amazing. And he
Yes.
was a Muslim, but he
Right.
understood in a different way. He
Yes.
was not asking people to worship Allah, but they don't understand what Allah means in general.
Right. Yeah.
His manifestation of absolute love and transformation and humility. And
Absolutely.
that is what I don't see in any movie, in any so-called Christian manifesto. And I think it's the task. It's
Yeah.
trying to understand deeper what really
Absolutely.
means to be part of that movement of transformation.
Yeah. I think too, like people would say, okay, it's a belief on what Jesus did on the cross and his sacrifice. But first and foremost, before that moment, I believe what was he doing? He was showing you how to live.
Mhm.
He came here to show you how to truly live and bring true life and consciousness to something that is dormant and mostly unconscious. And he's bringing that consciousness to here by the example of the way he lived. You
Mhm.
know, he ran to the pain. He he um he was feeding the 4,000, the 5,000 with only a very little. You know what I mean? He was we all know all the stories. You know what I mean? And he was going to the undesirable places and to the so-called undesirable people and bringing light and bringing love and bringing understanding and meeting people where they are.
Something to be pointed in this aspect, which is people in general don't understand that the true sacrifice was not just 2000 years ago. On one hand, in the Apocalypse 13:8, it says that the lamb was sacrificed even before the
Mm,
foundation of
right.
the world, but
Yes.
we are the sacrifice. That's in the teachings of Paul. When you live
Mm,
in accord with those principles, we come as a sacrifice. We are part of a sacrifice
yeah.
mm, because we suffer and we have to clothe ourselves with sin. That's even in the teachings of Paul the Master. Yeshua clothed himself with fallen Adam,
Yeah.
and he had to transform little by little that fallen Adam with the help of the Father. He was
Absolutely.
greater in his work, obviously, because he had more experience and he really was a soul meant to do that.
Yes.
But now, greater things you shall do, he said.
Right.
He gave us the pattern or the new blueprint because new Adam is
Yeah.
a new intelligence that
New day, new
incorporates
things.
this body is included in
Yes.
that pattern. So we
Yeah.
are not just a fallen animal with intellect. No, no. We can
Right.
be the whole expression of the Holy One on this earth.
Yeah. You know what? If I was in church right now, I'd said, "Preach, preacher, preach." Nah, nah. That was a mouthful, man. That's right on point and right on key. Yeah, absolutely.
That takes away the complex of sinner.
Right.
You are an expression of someone sent here that you have to follow
Right.
that. People don't
Yes.
see that.
Wow.
They say, no, I have to pray to the Lord and be forgiven.
Right.
I am
Yeah.
shit. Yes, you are shit and you will always be shit if you don't take
That
the garments of truth.
Yeah, that's all in the perspective. That's where you see you're giving your attention to the belief that you're not
Mhm.
worthy or capable or even you're not even noticing who you truly are. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think that's part of the morning and that's part of the night, you know what I mean? And we're trying to get that all in one day, all back in the moment, you know, in the here
Mhm.
and now.
Exactly. I was recently curious about an expression which is also in Hebrew. It's korban. Korban means sacrifice, like the sacrifice of Isaac. It was not a carnal sacrifice, but
Right.
he was sacrificing the left side of the body, not the first
Mm.
impulse. That's why it's symbolized by a ram.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
in Arabic countries and even in Turkey, they have an expression, let me be a korban, a sacrifice. When someone is asked to, to help or when something tragic happens, people say, let me be the sacrifice.
Mm.
So that's very interesting. It comes surely from Sufi teachings,
Right.
which include this making oneself open to something higher. You have to sacrifice your egoism
Yes. There
and you
you go.
become the korban. That's the true
That's
sacrifice.
key.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is. Yeah.
To me,
That's
that would be a true dialogue between a Christian and a Muslim,
right.
or even between a Christian, a Hebrew, and a Muslim. As in the Middle Ages, in the communities of Toledo, which we
Yeah.
visited, by the way, with the study group. We
Yeah.
went with my sister.
Oh,
We were
nice.
in Toledo, and I have some pictures.
Sweet.
And in that place, Jews, Kabbalist Jews, Muslims, even Sufis, and Christians studied together in the same
Yes.
schools. Beautiful. So
Yeah.
now the
Yeah.
church came,
Well, see,
and they were
ain't that the difference between being open and being
Mhm.
closed?
Exactly.
Open a space for no matter what the truth is, let
Mhm.
the truth be the truth. Be open to the truth no matter what it is. It not defined by any religion, any belief,
Mhm.
any set of circumstances. The truth is the truth. When it says the logos, that's not plural. There's one. There's one the word. It was the word, not the words. It was one. We're all one.
Mhm.
It's being open to the truth, and I think that really helped me with opening more is just being just reminding myself to be open to the truth. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? No matter where it comes from, that's ultimately what everybody wants. Everybody wants to know the truth. Just tell me the truth, plain and simple. Tell me the truth. And that's why I believe uh, Master Yeshua, Jesus said, I am the truth, the way, the life, the light of the cosmos. I am the truth because he was he had the understanding of the one. There's no separation there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? There's no
Exactly. Mhm.
yeah.
I am the light of the cosmos, and you are the light of the cosmos.
And
That's
you are the light,
in
right?
my
And
in Matthew 5.
right. Yes.
How can someone be a sinner and the light of the cosmos? It's impossible. Someone must to die.
Right.
You have to
and,
die.
and right and then and if he said if he already told you I'm the light of the cosmos and you're the light of the cosmos, he says we're kind of the same, and I'm not a sinner, I never sinned, so how can you be a sinner?
Mhm.
Because even Christians will say Jesus never sinned. You know what I mean? And even Muslims
Exactly.
will say he was a great prophet. You know, at least if not the so-called son of God. But it's just all a misunderstanding. It's like
Mhm.
a giant misunderstanding. Is basically what all the infighting is about. It's
Yes,
just
yes.
not fully understanding the truth and being open to the truth, no matter what it is. And that's just a misunderstanding.
And it's actually the assumption that we are the sinner what makes us sin again. because we don't live the full truth. When we forget,
Yeah.
we
Well,
fall
yes.
again. So
Yeah.
I think the sinner is the puppet.
Yeah.
Is the this diabolical toy, the Chucky. There were movies about the diabolical.
Ah,
I call
yeah,
it
no.
Chucky. I call him Chucky, or the diabolical human that we have, which is a tendency, a collection of personalities that must die.
Yes. Mm.
That's where Dabrowski was
Oh,
also very good.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and even that, but in saying that, don't we say that the energy, the essence can't die though. True energy don't go
Mhm.
anywhere. So really, we're not saying you're we're using that word die to say something got to give, something got to end, something got to change. You
Mhm.
know, death is a light door. So that means you walk through the light door of change. You know what I mean? And to and to go through the door with and Jesus says he is that door. You know, Yeshua the master said he is the way, the door that leads to the Father,
Mhm.
you know? And the door's open. The thing is that people don't know the door's open, but they're scared to go through it. It's like a jail cell. You're a prisoner in a
Mhm.
cell, but the biggest lie that was ever told was like, if you step out of that cell, you're in big trouble. You're going to get in more trouble than you're in already. But the
Mhm.
door's wide open. All you got to do is don't believe the fear, believe the truth, and the truth will set you free, right?
Mhm.
Out of the cell, come out of that darkness, come out of that morning, come out of that cell, and and come into the light and be the light and be who you are, be the
Mhm.
truth. And there's that the story in the Bible where the earth's shaking and the cell doors pop open and even the apostles don't come out of the cell.
Mhm.
And they don't want to come out because they think if they leave, they're going to get the jail keeper in trouble. That the his higher ups are going to fire him or kill him. You know what I mean? So they stay. They say, "Don't worry, no, we're still here. We're still
Mhm.
here. Don't worry." You know what I mean? So really, the door is open, and all you got to do is step out of your so-called jail cell, your beliefs, your understandings, your
Mhm.
misunderstandings, and come out of that place and
Mhm.
be a cell in the living one, in the only one that is true life, that is essence of the the essence, not the
Or
existence.
even an organ. Or is light. Gan is garden. So
Right,
cell is division still. No? It's like a
right,
part of an organism.
yeah,
And it's true that once you step into this new way of understanding, you can even sense the hatred from religion and obviously from society, which doesn't
yes,
understand, and they feel themselves with the right of condemning you in a sense, even
mm,
by pushing you or leaving you aside, considering you
yes.
an outcast. Even though nowadays it's not as tough as it was in the past. Because
Imagine that, if you would, right? It's not as tough now as it was. Don't let what all the old timers say. Oh, you guys got it easy. This is the tough, And
it is
and
not
I,
easy.
yeah, right.
We are not
But
hung up or skin alive as some Kabbalists were in the
right,
past, or hung.
yeah,
Even Sufis were hung and stabbed,
right.
tortured.
I yeah, I think that's too why he said you must fast from the world. So you must take a step back out of the world to to allow yourself that moment to really bring something into focus, right? So even if you take a simple representation, what I try to tell people is like, take your hand, right? and put it in front of your face, in front of your nose. You can't see the lines on your own hand. Everything becomes blurry and disoriented. But when you step back out of it, and now you got this view where you could see what's actually going on. So when you're in this religion, you're in this mindset, you're in this belief, you got this hand right here. You can't, you got your blinders on, right? The scales are on your eyes, so to say. So, but when you fast from the world and you step back out of the world and all the cares of the world, then you could more clearly see that stuff comes into focus. You could see the lines. You can make out you got four fingers and one thumb and all that and then you could see the little cut that you got here from when you was 3 years old, and you can't see all that when it's and that's what I think society does, or those who run society, they put everything in your face so close that
Mm.
it disorients you. And the truth is there, but you can't see it until you step back. You have to literally fat. That's why it said Ishu went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, and he stepped out of the world. He stepped back and was able, even though there was temptation there too, because the serpent energy met him there, but he was like, no, I'm here for this reason, to get a understanding of what I was, to recollect the thoughts that my father gave me the to-do list on how to do everything, and that's what I'm here to do now. Let me step back and focus on that, not in the vortex of the world.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's usually a vortex spinning downwards, down the rabbit hole or down the toilet bowl, or
Mhm.
that down the toilet bowl it goes.
Yeah, that's the hard point to do, to step back to self-remember
Yes. Yep.
and see yourself or yourselves.
Right.
See the
Yourself. Yeah.
madness and remember your true self. Yeah, obviously.
Right.
Mm.
Absolutely.
The other day I was asked a really interesting question. I wrote the whole thing in the blog.
Yes.
It had to do with the positive disintegration by Dabrowski. And this woman asked me how to overcome the stage two. I can explain in a way what that means, but she said that most people go back to stage one.
Mm.
In Dabrowski's way of seeing development, we go through 5 stages.